All right, now in our post service, I see another room for refactoring. Look at this create post method. Here, when handling the error, we're checking the status. If it's 400, we return an observable with bad input. Otherwise, we return an observable with app error. We have a very similar code in the delete post method. The only difference is this magic number. So instead of 400, we're working with 404. And also, note that here in update post, we don't have any error handling because we're assuming that this API endpoint does not return any predefined error messages like 404 or 400. But in a real world application, chances are this API endpoint would return certain kinds of errors. So then we're going to have similar code repeated in the update post method as well. So how can we improve this implementation? Well, here I'm going to extract a separate private method called handle error. And instead of repeating these few lines in every method, I'm going to simply delegate that error handling to that new method. So I'm going to add a private method, handle error. This method takes an error object, which is of type response. Now, I'm going to cut these few lines here and move them inside this private method. And by the way, the reason I define this as private is because this is purely the implementation detail of this post service. I don't want the consumers of this service to know about this method. So the consumer of this service currently is our post component. The post component should only be able to work with these methods: delete post, update post, create post, and get posts. I don't want that class to call this new method handle error from the outside. So that's why it's defined as private. Now here in the catch method, instead of passing an arrow function, you're going to pass a reference to this new private method. So this, that handle error. And note that I'm not calling this method. I'm simply passing a reference, okay? Now, we can add error handling to our update post method as well. So here I'm going to add .catch this .handle error. Now similarly, I'm going to modify the create post method, but here we're dealing with a different HTTP status code, 400. So I'm going to move this into our new error handling method. So cut. Now we can quickly jump to that method by pressing Shift, Command, and O on Mac and Shift, Control O on Windows. So here in the search bar, we can type handle error. And here we are. So if the error is 400, we're going to return bad input. If it's 404, we're going to return not found. Otherwise, we're going to return app error. Okay. Now let's quickly go to create post method and modify this. So instead of adding this arrow function, we're going to pass a reference to this .handle error. And we can also add this to our get posts method. And this way we have error handling in every single method in this class.